In this video, we're going to go over how to do a website audit inside of a website auditor. Now, Website Auditor is a tool that you can download for any Mac, PC, and even Linux. It is free. They do have a free version. They also have a professional and enterprise version. And if you go to their website, it's linkassistant.com. I'll give you a link, direct link in the description. But you can actually see the difference between the free, pro, and enterprise version. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can see that you can actually scan unlimited number of websites and get all of the errors and whatnot. The only exception is that you can only do 500 URLs. If you need to do more than that, you can upgrade to the Pro and Enterprise. The Enterprise gives you the ability to do reports and actually save reports to your computer and email client reports and whatnot. So if we go back to the website auditor, you see actually I've already done a website audit on my own website. If you don't have one, you can just go to new, and then you just type in the URL that you're wanting to audit and hit finish. And what it will do is actually go through and start crawling your website. If it's a big website, it will take a while. I've had audits take over 6 hours before, but most websites, especially if you're on the free version, should only take a few minutes. I'm going to hit cancel because I already have the audit. And if you look on the left-hand side, it actually splits everything out on a few different categories. And I'm going to go through each of these categories for you. So the first one is indexing and crawlability. And you'll see right here, the first one is resources with 4xx status code. And what I did is I actually created a broken link on my website just so I can show you what it looks like and then how to actually fix it. And on the bottom, this is for everything. It actually gives you what the error is and then some tips on how to fix the error and then what the SEO factor of each of these errors is. So if we click on this first resource right here, this is, if you actually fix the link, you can actually refresh it and it should actually crawl just that page. And then if you click on this arrow right here, you can see it will actually open this in your browser and you can see, oops, that page can't be found since it's definitely a 404 error. So if you close this and go back to the website auditor, you'll see the status code is 404 not found. And then right here, you can see if it's an internal external link, and then you can see a hamburger menu right here with what pages this link was found on. So again, if you click this little arrow, it will open up the page on your default browser, and then you can actually see right here I have this is a broken link. So to edit this, you're going to go to edit post. And then I'm going to go down to the bottom in the visual builder and then just delete this broken link. And I'll go to update the page. And if we go back to website auditor, we do a refresh and you can actually see that the error went away. So we are good to go with that one. The next one is 5xx status code. This usually pertains to a server error. Right here you can see resources restricted from indexing. It's actually good to see things here. You just need to go through it and actually make sure it's like this one. I have my author page set to no index, meaning that Google shouldn't crawl it. And then the same with these WP-JSONs. I don't want Google to actually index these either, so we do a disallowed robot tag, and then this will tell Google, hey, don't search this, don't index it because it's something that shouldn't be public. Next up is 404 page set up correctly. The 404 page is actually something that displays when you actually have a 404 error. This is just saying that I have one. Next up is robots.txt file. This will actually be configured automatically depending on your SEO plugin. Almost all of them have them, including the SEO plugin called Rank Math, which is what I actually use and recommend right now. And the same thing with the XML sitemap. most SEO plugins will actually generate the robots.txt file and the XML sitemap for you. Next up is redirects. So if you have a root domain of just like mine, digitallyfound.com, you want to make sure that if somebody types in www.digitallyfound.com, that it automatically redirects to digitallyfound.com. In this case it does, so it tells me I'm good to go. In this, it actually scans for any issues between HTTP and HTTPS. So if you have some issues with your SSL certificates, like an untrusted or expired one, it will actually tell you that there's an issue with that page. Right here you have pages with 302 redirects. 302 redirects are temporary redirects, which don't pass any link juice. This will actually tell you if you have any pages. It's not necessarily a bad thing. If you have 302 redirects, you just need to make sure that they're classified correctly. In this one, you have 301 redirects, and in this case, I have all these are my actual affiliate links. So I do a 301 redirect from my domain name that I give out. And then what it does, it basically just forwards that URL via a 301 redirect. So I can actually tell people to go to digitallyfound.com/get/Buzzsprout instead of this long URL right here. Just makes it easier for people to get to. Now this is pages with long redirect chains. So this is actually something that I need to look more into. Basically, it's saying that this is going from get WPX to get WPX hosting, and then this is taking it to the affiliate ID. So what I need to do is actually find out why these are redirecting. I'll need to go through all my redirects and make sure that they're configured correctly. That's not for this tutorial though, as we're just showing you how to do the audit. But if you want more information on that, just comment below and I'll try to do a detailed tutorial on how to actually check your redirects and what plugins I use and whatnot. So this one is pages with meta refresh. The meta refresh is basically seen as a violation of Google quality guidelines and therefore not recommended for the SEO point of view. It's just something that Google definitely doesn't want you to do, so therefore it checks your pages for that. Next up is pages that have canonical tags. So the canonical tags are basically saying if you have maybe two pages that have similar duplicate content, that you want to tell Google, say, hey, this is the page that I want you to actually rank for. So for example, you have a landing page and then you duplicate that landing page and maybe customize a few different terms for a specific location. You're probably going to want to do a canonical tag linking back to the original page, just so Google doesn't see that as duplicate content, and it'll actually say, hey, this is the original page that I want you to focus on. Next up, we have encoding and technical factors. This will say, is your page mobile friendly? Yes, it is. HTTPS pages with mixed content issues. Again, if you have some certificate errors or there's some things loading that are linking to HTTP, but you're loading everything else with HTTPS, it's going to pop up in here. This one is pages with multiple canonical tags. You only want one canonical tag per URL. So obviously if you have two, that's a problem, and Website Auditor will let you know. Next up, you have pages with frames. So a frame is something that allows you to show a document or another page inside of your website. These frames will have text and hyperlinks, and basically the search engines can't crawl this data. So if you do have frames, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but just note that anything in those frames are not going to be indexed and not going to help your SEO at all. So just be wary about what you have. In general, I try to stay away from frames because they don't always load correctly on a lot of browsers, and you just got to be cautious with that. Next up, you have pages with W3C errors, and you can actually, it doesn't do this by default, but if you hit the little refresh icon, it'll scan it for you. And then you can do the same thing with W3C CSS errors. So this isn't something that I'm concerning myself with. I wouldn't recommend doing it either. Basically, it just looks through the standards of websites, your code, and make sure it's up to standard. If you wanted to, you could do the checks, and then if you click on this little arrow right here, it will actually open the updater for you. And then you can actually see the errors here. Again, it's just a lot of code and it's going to confuse most people. But if you are a coder and you want to go through everything and you can fix all of these, by all means, there's no negatives to do it. I just don't think it actually does much in the realm of SEO. If you have major errors, absolutely, you need to get those fixed. And honestly, a lot of these things are actually WordPress issues or plugin issues. So again, it's just not much you're going to be able to do, especially if you're using WordPress. Next up, if you go back to the website Auditor, we go to 2 big pages. So this, if you have a really large page, it takes a long time to load. Definitely not recommended. This is scanning for anything that's larger than 3 megabytes. Definitely don't want anything larger than that, because on slower connections it could take a while to load, and page load time is definitely a high ranking factor as far as SEO is concerned. Next up, it scans for dynamic URLs. So anything with like a question mark in it or underscore, things like that, Google doesn't recommend. So in this case, URLs should be clean coded for best practices and not contain any dynamic characters. So your URLs should be basically user-friendly and easy to use, and those will help your SEO ranking factors. Same thing goes with too long of URLs. If they're super long, then again, you're going to, if they're not going to be user-friendly, they're not going to be readable, and there's a chance that it could hurt your SEO rankings. Next up, you have broken links. This kind of corresponds to the 404 errors here. If you do have those, you may see the same ones out here. But again, you don't want broken links because they will hurt your ranking factor. Next up, you have pages with excessive number of links. This says anything over 100 they would consider excessive. And you obviously don't want to have tons of links right here. There's still a good reason to recommend keeping to under 100 links or so, the user experience. If you're showing well over 100 links per page, you could be overwhelming your users and giving them a bad experience. The page might look good to you until you put it on your user hat and see what it looks like to a new visitor. So again, don't have tons of links on your pages. Google will penalize you for that. It just won't rank as high if it thinks there's tons of links on there. Next up, you have do follow external links. Not a bad thing. It's just an info type of thing. There are do follow links and there are no follow links. Basically, do follow links are actually sending link juice from your website to the other website, and no follow link is basically telling Google, hey, don't follow this link, don't send any type of link juice to the website that you linked to. Next up, you have broken images. This is obviously a big issue to Google. If you have any type of image that is on your website that is broken, it'll pop up here. Same thing with empty alt text. Alt text is something that will actually describe an image to Google. This will help you show up on things like Google image search and whatnot. So it's definitely recommended to actually set your alt tags on your website. I'll show you how to do that real quick. If we go to something like here, go to edit post, and then we can go to an image. Say we have this image of this dog right here, click on it, click on the edit, and then I have the alt tags, happy dog with gold dog tag. Basically, this just describes to search engines and to users exactly what this image is. Next up, you have empty title tags. Title tags are very important. They basically They give you the title of the webpage or what your post is about. This is important for SEO. It's a great place to put your keywords in. So if we go back to my website, see right here, this is actually the title tag for my post, the 4 most important things in search engine optimization. And if you're using an SEO plugin like Rank Math, you can go down to the bottom, and then right here you can actually customize the title tag as well. So basically, if we were to go to Google and find this is most likely what it's going to show up. It's actually going to show up what this preview looks like. It basically tells Google and other search engines, hey, this is the title that I want you to show to users. And if we go back to Website Auditor, duplicate title tags. So this is telling me that I have duplicate title tags that I need to look at. This is my home page, not something that I have to worry about because this homepage is basically digitallyfound.com. These right here, you can actually see that the category and the tag are the same. So to fix this, what you do is go to the actual category page. You go to edit category. And then right here, you can actually set the title for that category. So you can make it unique. Now we'll go back to the website auditor. Too long of titles. Anything that is longer than about 70 characters basically is considered too long because it would get truncated on search engines. So you don't want that to happen. You want to keep them under 70 characters. Next up, we have empty meta tags. You can see here that these are mainly tags and categories. Again, if you go to that actual category, you can set the meta tag, which is this right here. Click to enter a custom meta description. Again, this is what shows on Google for this specific category or post or anything on your website. So go to Website Auditor again, duplicate meta descriptions. You obviously want to have unique meta descriptions for each page. Too long of meta descriptions. Again, you want to keep them under a maximum of 300 characters because if not, you're going to get truncated by Google. And then finally, you have localization. If you have a multi-language website, you're going to have things called hreflang tags. And this is actually going to audit those and make sure they're set up correctly. So you have language versions will pop up here. You have different elements, different language codes, invalid URLs, missing return links. All these are basically related to the localization. So if you have a multi-language website, definitely pay attention to these. And again, if you go through these, it'll actually give you some tools on actually how to go through here and fix them and then give you a little bit more information on that specific error. So there you have it, guys. That is a quick run through on how to use Website Auditor to do your site audit. You can see here you actually have a visualization tab, which is great to make sure that your internal linking structure is good. This will actually give you the pages, and then your all resources, which will actually give you a breakdown of your internal and external resources. And you can see there's other tools here that we'll go through in the future. Content analysis is a great way to actually give you a rundown on how well optimized your content is, actually checking the H1 tags and whatnot. So I'm going to make another video on that in the near future. Stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you love it. Comment if you have any questions. And definitely check out digitallyfound.com. There's going to be a lot of resources coming up on how to do digital marketing and help you get found online. Love you guys. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.